The Upanishads say something very beautiful. They say, Yo ve bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. If you're going to memorize something from the Upanishads or take an Upanishad with you, this is one of those lines that you should really take with you. Yo ve bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. The infinite, the whole, is a source of happiness. The finite is not a source of happiness. That's what the Upanishads say. That the infinite or the whole is a source of happiness. The finite is not a source of happiness. The Upanishads are written by seers, by rishis, by enlightened masters that have evolved past human tendencies, evolved to the level of God, become God, and have spoken as that. And their realization of life is happiness comes from the infinite, from the whole, not from the finite. So the sutra before this talked about purity of intellect. And as Patanjali does, all of his sutras match the previous one. He always is cumulative in the way he describes things. And the accumulation here is that when you have purity of intellect, that's when santosh or contentment happens naturally. How so? I'm going to give you two types of lenses here. One's an analytical lens, and then we're going to go on to a meta-analytical lens. See, the analytical lens says our intellect or our mind naturally sees that something right now is incomplete. That's why we want happiness and joy, right? If you ask yourself, am I content and happiness? Do I have happiness and joy right now? You say, no, I'm looking for something. I'm searching for something. Why? Because like the Upanishads say, the finite, if you feel incomplete right now, you are searching or finding ways to complete yourself, because you also inherently recognize that it's in the completion. It's when everything is put together correctly, when you are the whole, that's when you'll be happy. So something is incomplete, it needs completion, and what this says about your current state is you don't accept your current state. Something is wrong. Something needs to be fixed. And the analytical lens says, well, this is a good thing because this is what leads to growth. The mind is supposed to do this because that's what's going to lead to growth and expansion and evolution. And so you're going to make new goals, you're going to have new desires, you're going to have ambition to fulfill them. And this is wonderful because this is exactly the type of movement that has led us from being minerals inside of stars to being biomachinery on the planet that can transmit consciousness. In one way, this is a wonderful thing. But here's what the meta-analytical lens says. Meta-analysis means that you zoom out and you look at things from a bird's eye perspective. And the most evolved conscious beings have advocated for this, that there is something even higher, even deeper, that is more capable, infinite than even the mind. And accessing that is the hallmark of human evolution. So what is that? And in spiritual texts, this will be written as when man becomes God. See, the meta-analytical lens says, listen, the mind will never be complete. Because its nature, its fitting, its whole concept is to identify with the finite. It's supposed to do this. But what are you looking for? The question becomes, what are you looking for? And you'll say, I'm looking for happiness. And then you have to access your whole life's trajectory. And you have to say, the reason I'm not happy is because I always keep desiring for something. And then when I get that desire fulfilled, for 2 seconds, I feel like I've got it. I'm happy. But maybe 2 seconds is too long, because when I get something right from the back, there's a new desire bubbling up and it wants completion as well. Then the next desire happens And now, sometimes my desire doesn't get fulfilled. And so what happens? I feel worse. I feel inferior. I feel sadness because there's a lingering desire that didn't get fulfilled. So when you zoom out and you look, hold on, the mind can never actually be complete. But you're looking for happiness. So the seers say, what if you just accept things as they are and go with the flow? I know go with the flow has become like, an ordinary term, but it comes from the deepest spiritual keys that rishis have given. Rishis, they say that there's an unseen flow that is actually controlling evolution. There is an unseen river that is moving things along, that the mind is working according to. You can either flow with it or you can resist it. That is what is going to determine your happiness. Not if you have a mind and you get what you want. That's not going to determine your happiness. It's how much you can flow with this river, this unseen mechanism, this unseen trajectory. If you can flow with it, you can be happy. If you resist it, that will cause pain. So the seers say things are going to happen anyways. When you were not on the planet, the world was absolutely fine. When you're on the planet, the world is also absolutely fine. And when you're not going to be here, the world is also going to be absolutely fine. So why not let go, stop resisting, stop trying to change life to follow my way? I know we can't meet God and say, okay, it's either my way or the highway. So what do we do instead? If I can't get my way, I'm going to be depressed. I don't want to live life. I'm going to just ignore it all. This is just our way to fight against something we can't change. But who's this hurting? Me. This is going to stop you from living life. And once the seers say that once you let go and you start flowing with this river and you stop intending to change things to follow your way, first of all, you lose all your burdens and your awareness peaks, because it's actually all of this extra noise and information and burdens and sadness. This didn't happen, that didn't happen, I have to do this, this has to happen. If this doesn't happen, I won't be happy. If this happens, I won't be happy. I have to make sure I take care of all of this. This stuff is exactly why awareness doesn't happen. So what do the seers say? Let go of the whole thing. Release it. Everything is going to be absolutely fine. And it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. What happens? Awareness starts to peak. You become sensitive again. You can feel things again. The smallest things make you so happy. You want to be here. You want to live life. And it's only in awareness that the most paramount question in all of spirituality can happen to you. If this question does not thump inside of you, it doesn't bother you, it doesn't come up like a tsunami within you, you can almost say that the spiritual journey hasn't even started. What's this paramount question that happens when your awareness is at a full level? The question is, who am I? What am I? But you will never ask this question if there's a whole bunch of I need to fix this, I need to do this has to happen, that has to happen. This circumstance has to be adjusted. This circumstance has to be adjusted. Your whole life you live to fix things around you, and you didn't recognize, hold on, who was I that I was fixing things around me for? So the rishis say, drop everything so that this paramount question can happen to you. Who am I? And this question is when you really seek out a guru, an enlightened master, and then you go deep into awareness. In levels of heightened awareness, this question comes to you by itself. And in discovering the answer for this, who am I, you start to find out, I'm actually whole. Who told me I wasn't perfect? What kept telling me that something about me needed to change? Other people, other information, society. Who told me I wasn't good enough? When you ignore all of that and you start to trace yourself back and you say, I am perfect. As you start to lose awareness and identification with the body, you start to lose identification with the thoughts, you start to actually see, I can know the body, I can know my hand, I can know my feet, but none of these things know me.